Go.
My speech is over gun control, assault weapons, and high-capacity magazines. Have you ever thought about how many firearms are owned in the U.S. by citizens? Households own about 42% of percentage of firearms in the U.S. 47% are by males. Females own 13%. A lot of firearms are used for home protection, hunting, and stuff like that. They did a poll back a couple years ago, and protection against crime, 60% of firearms are used for that. Target shooting was 66%, and hunting was 58%. So not all weapons go into mass shootings and stuff like that are owned just particularly by hunters, sharpshooters, and people against crime. They've been trying to push assault weapon bans to reduce school shootings, stuff like that. Well, the worst problem is there's too many ways to get firearms. They need to go back on the federal background checks, mental health checks to help not get firearms into the hands of wrong people. Okay. It is illegal and punishable by 10 years of following people to receive, possessing, and transporting firearms without federal background check or people who have convicted of felony crimes. It is legal or punishable by up to 10 years in prison to sell or transfer any firearms or ammunition to someone knowing or having a reasonable cause to believe this person falls into any prohibited category, which involves you have felonies, anything that you've been in prison and to jail that is not a misdemeanor, you cannot purchase a firearm. Well, there's too many ways to still get them, so there's people still get them, and that's a lot of times where you get them into the wrong hands. School shootings would probably reduce a lot if the FBI could somehow manage to get the federal background checks with mental health checks into all that, but that be pretty hard. In 2008, 5,340,000 violent crimes were committed in the United States. These just included assaults, robberies, sexual assaults, rapes, and murders. And 436,000 of these were committed by people armed with a firearm. So guns aren't the natural cause for everything that's out there. Based on a survey in 2000, U.S. citizens use guns to defend themselves and others from crime at least 1 million times per year. But if you look at it and you want to ban all this, there's going to be a lot more crimes. People are going to try to steal them from other people. They ain't going to be able to get rid of them and reduce crime completely. In 1997, U.S. Justice Department survey of 14,000 state prison inmates found that among these inmates who carried a firearm during the offense for which they were sent to jail, 0.7% obtained a firearm at a gun show, 1% at a flea market. The gun show loophole would be one way that they could cut down on the federal background check, because at gun shows you do not have to have a federal background check or anything like that in order to purchase a firearm. Flea markets, same way. You just walk in with money, you can walk away with a gun. And they're trying to push legislation to do that one pretty easy. But and then they're also trying to push people that in order to buy a firearm, you cannot just buy from another individual. You have to go to a registered gun owner or gun shop and change all your information so that you are now registered with the FBI clearance. Under federal law, private individuals are not required to conduct a background check before selling or transferring a firearm to someone who lives in the same state. But the new legislation is now pushing this law into effect, which will help out a bunch with guns staying out of wrong hands. most guns anymore people use for hunting, self-defense. But there are a few out there that they do fall into the wrong hands, or they steal them and commit crimes with them. But for the most part, guns aren't always the bad thing. They need to look more into the people who are getting them. So if we can crack down on that, that'd help out a lot.